Hey everyone, Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. I'm still doing this little series that has a bug up my butt. Well, this is also a little bug up my butt. This is Lucy. Bug up my butt. I'm doing a series on ESPs because I think that small and medium-sized businesses and professionals can be helped along the line with products and services, the secrets of the business, so to speak, to help them make some decisions. And that's what I'm hoping to do. So I've got Jami Gonzalez here, and she's going to be talking a little bit about what she's doing, why she's doing it, what she's doing it on, etc., etc. So, Jami, why don't you go ahead and a little brief introduction, and then tell us what ESPs you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Joy. Happy to be here. So I'm Jami. I have been in email marketing for the past 6 years now. I actually started doing customer service for an email marketing platform, and I loved it ever since. And that's the story. So essentially, when thinking about like my favorite ESP, I'm gonna have to be honest, Joy. I don't have a favorite. I think that, and that's intentional. I've worked with so many in the past. You can name it, like MailChimp, Pardot, Constant Contact, Klaviyo, Iterable, HubSpot. I've worked in so many, and honestly, they all shine in different ways depending on the company's goals, the team's actual maturity, and their overall setup. It's not really the platform itself, it's how you architect it. And that's what I've learned a lot with my experience so far. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, it's like you get a tricycle for yourself when you first want to start riding a bicycle. And hopefully you're able to take the wheels off the tricycle and now you've got a two-wheeler. And that's sort of the concept, it's very simplified, of an email marketing platform. Hopefully you're getting involved in a partnership with a product that your business can grow into, because migrating, it may be important to at some point migrate, but you don't want to migrate 6 months, a year in. It's it'll dry. And if you constantly are migrating, it's like, I don't know, if somebody keeps buying a new car, are you really interested in cars, or are you trying to show off? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
So, why don't we, we'll take a look at some of the, core questions, and we'll see what we can come around and talk about between some of the different products. So, when choosing an ESP over competition, right? Yeah. Somebody says, "Oh, should I do MailChimp or should I do Constant Contact? What should I do? I'm just starting." What types of decisions, right? The original decisions that make you want to pick a particular brand or a particular ESP. What's going on in your head, and how do you, if somebody were to ask you a question, how would you answer them? And go ahead and mention particular products. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that I would look at is the stage that the client is in, or if it's myself, like I would look at what stage I'm in terms of growth. Like, do I project myself in the next 6 months to a year having 100K audience members, and do I actually see myself reaching that goal? What are my goals? Do I want to do brand awareness? Do I want to do, shopping, e-commerce? I think that really puts together what type of ESP you should look for. If you're looking to reach out to be an e-commerce retail shop, maybe you should look at something like Klaviyo. If you're looking to just do like marketing and promotional announcements for like a newsletter or something of that matter, MailChimp would be a good one. So I think it's just all about understanding where you are currently with your company and where you want to go to. What is your overarching goal? And then from there, the details start coming in, like Who do you want to target? What is your budget? What are you looking at in terms of, do you want to advance your templates? Do you want to integrate with different data platforms? Like, that's where all the questions start to trickle in. But I think the important part is setting that foundation and understanding what you're actually trying to do first.
And something else that when you said integration that stuck in my mind is that if your business is so unique, some way, shape, and form. Yeah. So, for example, and I've had this come up recently, where a company is basically, they're just sending emails internally.
Yeah.
Right? But every year they do they do donation drives.
Okay.
Now, some ESPs are donation specific, and those are very niche.
Yes.
But you're not going to find every ESP will say, "Oh, we can do donations," but some ESPs are specifically built for donations.
Yeah.
Right. So some companies that do yearly or biannually donation drives, they will have an ESP and they'll have a donation tech stack. So it's donation ESP. And they need to talk with each other, and they all don't talk to each other.
No.
So if you are in a particular business where you have something unusual that's very niche for your business, and you've had that all along, and now you're looking for an ESP, the most important thing you should at least be asking and understanding, because you're going to get there at some point, is how to make them talk.
Yes.
If you're saying, "Oh, I'll just download and upload," okay, you can do that. But at some point, you want them to talk.
Yeah.
Because you want that data to be going back and forth, some way, some shape and form. And that's important. So I had that discussion previously where it's about HIPAA. So it's also a concern. So if you're dealing with something that is very unique to your audience, that's foremost. You don't let that go, "Oh yeah, by the way, I need to be HIPAA compliant."
Yeah,
That's
right.
the important thing.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Like, it's one of those scenarios where it's like, those special case scenarios that you do have, that should be considered at the forefront, because that will mold what type of ESP you use. Because we could sit here and say like, "Oh, you're just doing a marketing promotion." Okay, let's take it a step deeper. What type of marketing promotion? Because it might not even work. And that's so important.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so when we're talking about email, the next thing that's going to come to mind is automations.
Yeah.
Right. So some products these days, some products are like some products out of the box are automation heavy. Yeah. Like Active Campaign is it's all automations.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you need to run them all, but I'm just saying that the product came out with a funnel in mind for businesses. Yeah. And that funnel is managed through automations. So given the concept of workflows and automations, and there are so many, what types have you built in different platforms? And, what are those pros and cons in types of situations?
Yeah, I've built so many in the past. I think the most primary one that I've built is engagement campaigns, like re-engagement. And I've really built those out based on the ESP that the client has. So, if we are able to do something like behavioral logic in terms of like, hey, if you've interacted with this web page or this email, you opened it, or you opened a push notification on an app, trigger a journey based off of that. I've done campaigns like that, and I've used things like HubSpot. I've used MailChimp on some capability. MailChimp does have some limitations. You can't really go as advanced as you want to, but I feel like for behavioral level things, it's more of the advanced CRMs like Iterable and HubSpot that really can nail down what exactly your user base is doing, and you could trigger engagement campaigns off of that. Some other ones I've done is just like, follow-up campaigns for people that sign up for webinars. It's very simple. Like you can essentially connect your webinar, like the type of webinar connector that you need, and you can trigger campaigns based off of that as well. You can do that with really any ESP, as long as you have like something like Zapier, which is a great connector tool for integrations. It's doable. It's easy. Some other ones like transactional campaigns, of course, like if you abandon your cart, if you have something in your cart and, somebody is not making that purchase, you can easily create campaigns like that. There's so much that can be done with ESPs. It's just a matter of what you're actually looking to achieve with that workflow that can determine how that ESP can work for you. So that's kind of a little bit of what I've done in the past. I started getting more advanced with it as I've kind of graduated into more advanced CRMs. But for smaller companies, what you want to achieve with, specific type of campaigns, it's like the smaller ones like MailChimp that could really get that done for you.
Yeah. I'd say that for somebody who's just starting out,
yeah,
or even a smaller business, it's very shiny object to do lots of automations, but like set it and leave it is not what you want to do.
Absolutely
all
not.
the time. So I guess it goes against the grain because everybody will say, oh, just if you can set up the goals and you can model your automations with your goals, then you can just set it up and let it run. But the problem may happen that first of all, you're not necessarily you're not really analyzing everything that's going on. It can be dangerous. Automations can be dangerous. You set them up and they start running and these behaviors start occurring, but you don't know where people are going and you don't necessarily get an idea. Wait a minute, there's a trend going on here and I don't know what's going on. And you can't stop everything and say, we need to shift and we need to, do this or there's something going on. I want to prove it by another campaign. Can we do that? You're just letting it happen. And because automations take so long, I mean, they take all this planning and then they need approval and then you build them and then you test them and then they're going. And by that time, something could have changed.
Right. Exactly.
Or in the process of changing. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do automations, but I'm saying these very complicated automations. Again, I'm not going to mention the brand, but a pet store, and I meant, this is going to be my pet peeve. It used to be Old Navy, and I mentioned it enough times that I don't get any Old Navy email anymore. I think they figured out who I was. But a pet store, they send me 5 emails a day, which basically means everything's automated, and I'm getting dumped into these different behavioral automations. And I'm not behaving. All I'm doing is deleting.
Exactly.
I'm like, I have pets. And when I need to shop, I'll let you know. But right now, I don't need to shop.
Yeah.
So, I'm just getting emailed to death. And I'm thinking, I must, I'm getting sucked into automations. I can't imagine what they're doing unless they're just sending to the entire list.
Yeah.
Either one. But you're sending to the entire list all day long? Today we'll be doing 6 emails. Get ready. How many? And it's every day.
Every day.
I'm like, how? That's a lot of content.
And it's at that point, it's like you start encountering email fatigue. You start seeing churn left and right because you're not actively planning out how your campaign should run from start to finish. And that is a fatal flaw that I've noticed with smaller companies. They just, to your point, they run it, it's one and done, hands clean, we never touch it again. But it's an ongoing cycle that you have to evolve it as your audience evolves. They become more organic, they become more loyal. They're starting to, back off a bit. What are they unsubscribing from? You got to keep track of that for sure.
Yeah. It has to be, you have to touch it. I'm sorry, you just have to touch it. And that list is something that you just need to.
Absolutely.
Has there been any product, brand, ESP, or, anything in the tech stack that you've gone into and you're using, and then you find some bell or whistle and you're like, holy crap. Even if it's something that you're not necessarily using it for what they think you want to use it for, but you found that has that ever happened to you?
It actually did. It happened pretty recently, actually. So my current client, I use Iterable. So basically, Iterable is like this huge CRM platform that is actually pretty advanced. And my company has an app that we want to engage with and have, different events come through for that. I was tasked with, transforming our monthly email report that tracks energy usage, how people are interacting with the app. And I found that there is a catalog feature where it's super advanced, it's super coded, but basically if their usage is let's say you use your AC more than anything in the day, that icon can be appended to the email because of the catalog. We keep a library of images, and basically we could code the email to where if they are using the most for this AC, we show that icon. And that blows my freaking mind. I didn't think that ESPs are getting so advanced to the point to where we could do advanced personalization to that. It's been blowing my mind ever since I built it. It's definitely very advanced. So if we're talking for smaller companies that, are just trying to get started, another one that kind of blew my mind is MailChimp's tagging. Companies like HubSpot and Iterable, these big companies, they leave that out. And for someone like me that likes tagging, audiences left to right, that's super important. And I feel like a lot of these advanced CRMs are not including something like that. And it's those small things that could really help a small business keep their audiences organized in a way that's not confusing, and they can target based on those tags. So when I discovered that earlier on in my career, it changed my perspective on email marketing, seriously.
You said two things. So you said Iterable.
Yes.
And I would say that that's an enterprise level tool. Am I right in saying?
Okay. It is.
So, it may be for medium-sized businesses that have a budget, because it's expensive.
It is.
That have a budget, that are planning to, Iterable really is what Iterable does. It is a behavior.
It is.
Focused platform. And if you're going to be doing a lot of behavior marketing, then it's a good platform, and you will find lots of tools in that platform.
It is.
And then you also mentioned tags, and that's something that's worth talking about, because when I see tags, it's not just going to help you with segmentation, although that's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
But it's a further method, or it's sort of like if you've got 3 dimensions or 5 senses, it's the 4th dimension and it's the 6th sense.
There you go. Yes.
So, and you should use it that way, and you should think about how you might want to use tags. So any platform is going to give you a way to segment on opens, a way to segment on clicks, a way to segment on in lists, not on lists, lots of different things.
Yeah.
That are pretty simple. And then you get your very special things that you're like, oh, but it doesn't do that. Yes, it does, if you use tags.
Exactly.
And you need to think about that when you're uploading your list. because that you basically can say, have they purchased in the last 6 months and bought bathing suits?
There
Right?
you go.
And if they're tagged bathing suits, women's bathing suits, then you've got that's that extra dimension.
Yes.
And sometimes what happens is people tag they go tag crazy, and they have like 100 tags, and none of them apply to anything anymore.
No.
So you just don't tag on a whim. You really should come up when you're uploading and you're beginning to think about what you're doing. You should think about tags, small strategy that allows you to grow to the next step.
Exactly.
And then there are some. Here's Active Campaign again, which was built heavy on the funnels. One of the techniques for funneling was tagging. Their system allows you, and I would say Active Campaign is for medium-sized businesses, maybe not small. They do cater to small.
Yeah.
And then there's somewhat of a jump. So it's sort of like you get to a certain level of customers and they start banging you to death.
Yeah.
But that just means you've grown into other tool set, and if you can afford it, it's great. But in any case, they allow you to run automations and tag through the automation. And they get really highfalutin, really very, 10th dimension type of a thing.
Yeah.
So you can start them in a funnel, and if they've had specific behaviors, you could tag them. So have they purchased? Okay, tag them. Put them in another funnel. Suddenly they pop out and they go somewhere else. So these are the ways you could use tags, and it's important. And most ESPs that allow you to tag are going to have some strategy behind it. So should you be in a conversation with an ESP and they're selling you on tags, you might want to ask them if they can apply a business case scenario to you and explain what they mean by tags, because they're different. They're different.
They are.
MailChimp has tags, and when I recognized the fact that they had tags, I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. But I don't know if they're highly sophisticated, or at what point how you can interact with them. I have a few clients on MailChimp, and I've tagged. I've used tags, but it's very small business mentality. Very small.
Yeah, exactly. Because there can be a time where you kind of outgrow tags. Like sometimes tags are very helpful for getting you started and getting you running, but then you start advancing a bit more. You need more advanced segmentation to help you with that. I can't tell you how many times I've had to go into like ESPs like MailChimp and just clean up over 50 tags because people are just adding them willy-nilly. When the point is, it's to help you with organizing and making sure that you're targeting the right audience at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
It is.
And you can grow in and out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And that's, like you said, that's the way it should be. It's not meant to be, you have to follow this rule until the end, until you drop dead. No, that's not the way.
Right.
It's not the way it should be.
Exactly.
So, if you could, manage an ESP based on other tech stack tools, right? What we mentioned Zapier. Are there, are there other tools that you have worked in the past that if you strip down, you might do differently, maybe move to a different platform where, you've been forced to use a particular tech stack and a particular ESP does it all in one? It's sort of like the CRM to an ESP type of a thing, where at some point in time, just get an ESP with a CRM.
Yeah.
So can you talk about those type of situations?
Yeah. I think that when it comes to like making that jump, right? Like from an ESP specific platform to a CRM, I've seen it go both ways, where essentially if you make that jump, you graduate into HubSpot, for example. You kind of jumped off the deep end and you got way too many tool stacks. You got way too many advanced tools that your company is not ready for. So usually for those situations, like I would recommend just really analyzing if you can use integrations to the best of your advantage. Like it's one of those things where tech stacks can become a bit overwhelming, especially like if you have like WordPress integrated, if you have Zapier integrated, if you have Salesforce integrated, managing all of those integrations into an ESP, then yeah, maybe consider moving to a CRM, but only if you're going to be using the features to its fullest availability. In the past, I've seen where it is successful, but I've also seen where, having multiple, integrations does end up working for that time because jumping to that CRM may not be ideal for them at that time. So I've seen it go both ways. Usually I recommend staying as much as possible and like finding a better way to manage it. So that way there's not a jump in price. But if it does work better overall and you are going to use those tools, then that's when I would say make that jump.
Yeah, because again, HubSpot is a higher level tool.
Yeah.
You could buy HubSpot and only use their email marketing tools and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that expensive. It's medium size. It's not cheap. It's not that expensive. And if you are thinking that you're going to grow into a large company, then HubSpot is good. It's again one of those tools that has a lot. But it's different. Again, the name is going to tell you. Iterable is those behavioral iterations.
Yes.
HubSpot is going to connect your social, your paid advertising, your promotions, your webinars. It's going to connect all these different social hubs together.
Yeah.
And that's the strength. If you're selling products, neither one of them or either one of them might work, depending on what kind of products are you selling? Are you selling software products or are you selling shoes?
Exactly.
So you really need to sometimes the names will help you. Doing the higher level super integrations, the Salesforce Marketing Cloud, the Marketo, the Iterable, those, these bigger products require a team.
They do.
Okay. You cannot get on Salesforce if you have a marketing team of one and it's your brother-in-law doing it on the side.
Yeah.
Even if you have the money, it's not, you might say, oh, well, I've got, I'm using Salesforce marketing as my CRM. I'm using Salesforce as my CRM. So why don't I just go into the cloud and use all their products? I would say you might not want to do that because you're going to, at some point in time, either, you're scratching the surface for the past 10 years.
Yes.
Or you're getting into it and you have no idea because it is so deep that your head's going to explode. Marketo is also like that. It can be very simple, but again, you want to spend a lot of money to send emails that you could be sending on Constant Contact, just so that you can have Marketo that can do, that it's like a Cadillac. Are you going to the food store in a Cadillac? Why? Why are you doing that?
Exactly.
Because you want to? Okay. You got money, throw it away, by all means. But, it can be difficult when you realize that if you go into a higher end product that you need a programmer, or if you stay where you are, you still need a programmer to do the integrations. The point of the matter is, you will definitely need that programmer in Salesforce Marketing Cloud.
Yes. Hands down.
You'll definitely need it, because if you're at that point where you're using all the bells and whistles, there's no way you're going to be able to use all the bells and whistles yourself.
I kind of look at it like this too. It's like, if you need 5 certifications to use a product, just to understand the foundations of that product and how it works, I would reconsider, just like as you're starting out.
Exactly. And you don't necessarily even need the certifications, but you do need the knowledge that those people have gotten through those certifications. So if you're the person that likes to do it yourself, here I am, I'll go through an ESP and learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I'll even I don't know how to do that. Oh, I'll learn and I'll do it.
Yeah.
5 months later, oh, I'm doing that. I'm doing that now. Who would have thought? But if you're that type of person, great. But again, that's not necessarily looking for a programmer. That's looking for a very specific marketing person.
Yeah.
So it's about talent. And that's what I'm saying. You start going for these executive level product. You need the talent. So you're paying on both fronts now.
Absolutely.
You're paying for your employee or your sources, and you're paying for this platform. And you've just got to be ready.
You do.
Are there any ESPs that you've used that we haven't mentioned? Do you want to go through that list, or if you haven't already done that?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It depends. I've used so many in the past. I think primarily what I've used for most clients is MailChimp in the past. MailChimp is a great small scale to medium scale tool that gets the basics done. Like if you need to code like a template, or if you need a specific activity behavior on a surface level, it's a great tool. I always usually, if a client is using that, I get excited because I know it like the back of my hand. Things I've used in the past is also like Constant Contact, Active Campaign, Klaviyo. I actually did a migration from Klaviyo to Iterable, and it was massive. So those are big changes. HubSpot, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Pardot. A lot of the clients that I've worked with are more that medium to larger scale. So MailChimp has always been the safe space, as I like to call it, the safe space for the smaller businesses to get started. So yeah, I think those are like the primary ones I've used. I've used SendGrid as well. I love their deliverability tactics. I've never seen another platform do that like SendGrid. But if I had to choose like one for a smaller scale, I think I would recommend MailChimp. They just have it all kind of in the same place,
Yeah. I would say that anybody starting out, MailChimp, there's a lot of other new these days. What I'm seeing some people do are, they're going to Substack.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
And also there's ConvertKit. So there's these I would call them publishing platforms.
Yep.
They're ESPs, but they're publishing platforms. And they're generally built for people that are blog-minded and want to push their blogs out.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's Medium, there's Substack, and a lot of those people, for Medium, I believe, were using ConvertKit. And then Substack came and does it all.
Yeah.
So, but that's a very specific niche. And a lot of podcasters will go to Substack.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's another way of monetizing what they do.
Yeah.
So in many cases, people go to work because they want to make money. Isn't that amazing? That's wow, my head's blowing up. So many cases, people are looking simply to make money.
Yeah.
They don't even have a product at this point. They're like, how can I make money? Oh, I can make money doing podcasts. Oh, what are you going to do on podcasts? I don't know, but I can make money. And that's their concept. So that's the same concept with Substack. Oh, I can write, make money. The truth of the matter is, you really need a niche and you really need some talent.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I am saying you really need a niche and you really need talent. So if you just go to Substack to write, you may fall into a talent. You may fall into your talent. You may find your skill. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Right.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying, there's a little bit of a pipe dream going on there. You're not going to make millions on podcasting or in Substack, but there are some tools there that help you, do your marketing.
Yeah.
There aren't, as far as I'm concerned, or that I know of, there are no tools for marketing YouTube.
I don't know of any, actually. You bring up a good point.
You cannot scrape for email addresses.
Nope.
You have to ask them. The whole thing behind a podcast is like and subscribe for the algorithm. And then you get you get the YouTube, perhaps, if you're lucky and talented. You get enough likes and subscribes where they can make money off of you advertising.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's change. That's it. That's a change. You can go to your, you could, if you're doing well, you can go find your own sponsors and do it that way. You could create promotions and sell marketing materials. So, it occurred to me I could sell email and coffee mugs and sweatshirts.
I would love that, actually.
You would? I could do that. I haven't done it because I thought, who would buy an email and coffee sweatshirt?
Well,
Maybe I'll do that. So, so that's another way of promotions.
Yeah.
But YouTube is not built necessarily to connect to anything.
Right.
Be that as it may.
You may try to embed a video into your email. You're going to probably break your email.
But you can do it the other way. So you could use your email to push them to YouTube.
Yeah.
That you could do. But you can't do anything in YouTube to get them to get on the list. I mean, you have to ask them. It's active. It's not a simple tool that, oh, by the way, right here, it's a subscribe tool. It subscribes you to YouTube. It doesn't subscribe anybody to anything to do it. You have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And the analytics behind podcasting with YouTube are, there's a lot going on, but you don't know the person.
Right.
Until they make a comment. Until they come out of, the muck and mire and they comment and you still don't know who they are because they're, they got a name like, Johnny Appleseed.
Right.
And you know who Johnny Appleseed is,
Yeah.
where he comes from, how old he is. You get some data, but it's not one-to-one, so you don't go, oh, this data belongs to Johnny Appleseed.
Right. Insane.
So, many times I've had people say, oh, that podcast was great. I watched the whole thing. And I go and I look at my stats and I'm like, one person clicked. That was me. Person said that they saw but if 50 people clicked, could they be in there? Yeah, I wouldn't be able to single them out.
Yeah.
So those types, hey, anybody listening, you want to write tools? YouTube's, I do not know if they're open source. They may not be.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. Somebody tell me. I don't know if they're open source. But there probably is some money to be made there. in
Oh,
email marketing.
absolutely. You should be front. You're the pioneer of the idea. Joy claimed it.
Anybody let me know if you want to. I have a feeling they're not open source,
Yeah.
because if they were, we'd see the tools.
Yeah.
We would see the tools. So
Absolutely.
they must be closed. Oh well, that's too bad. So you've said you've done some migrations. So can you talk about the tipping point? Like when you know, oh God, it's time to migrate.
Yeah. I think a really good indicator is how how much you're expanding in your audience. Like if your audience is growing to the point of, you're starting to market different things, like beyond like a newsletter. You move past a newsletter. You now have a website and a shop, and you have all these new things that you want to market to people. That's the time where I think you should consider moving or migrating to another platform that requires deeper behavior insights, deeper activity tracking, just things that can keep track with all the new audience members that you may have. If you're just sending out like a newsletter, like in this case, like a Substack, and you're sending out blogs and things, you can stay on Substack. That's fine. But if you're starting to, change the company, or the company's expanding and growing, and there's more things that you need to do to avoid churn or avoid fatigue, that's when you should really consider making that migration move, because you're kind of outgrowing the ESP at that point, and you need something that can handle what you're trying to get to. Sometimes ESPs can limit you in what you're wanting to do, and sometimes that migration is necessary in order to get to where you want to go. Yeah.
There are many ESPs that are built on sends, or their pricing structure built on sends or built on list size.
Yeah.
So where you're starting and you're so excited because you've got a list of 2,000 people, you go to MailChimp, be fine.
Right.
For a long time. And if you get to the next point where maybe you're at 10,000 or 15,000, they're going to start banging you.
Yeah.
Possibly. And what you want, the next move is into sends.
Mm-hmm.
So they charge you per send. Doesn't matter how many people you have, it's how often you send.
Exactly.
And then the next phase is, if you're sending a lot and you've got a lot of people, now you need money. Now you're doing serious shit.
Yeah.
Boy club. And, you're going to have to spend money. And if you don't want to, then, clean your list, start from scratch. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But, I don't necessarily have a clean list of those that do by list size. I know MailChimp does.
Yeah.
I think Constant Contact does. I think is it by list size or is it by sends?
It's been a minute. I think it's by sends for that one.
Is it?
I think so. I need to check that, but yes.
What you want to be able to do is manage. I would say at least, I would want to say 5 years, and maybe that's a long time. But if you're a business that's growing, a new business that's growing, 5 years. If you're a mature business, that's different.
It is.
That's different. Because if you're a mature business, the odds are you're in a growing phase.
Yeah.
Right. And that can be leaps and bounds. Right. So, a small company that has been around for 10 years, may be looking to buy other companies, maybe looking to go into other, other different, branching out into different niche businesses that apply to what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they had one product, maybe they're, and they're doing really well with one product. Maybe they're going to buy another product or go into development for another product. And, here's where, your ESP may need to take that growth spurt along with your growth.
Right. It has to grow with you.
Yeah, it has to grow with you. And, it takes a bit of time to grow out of an ESP unless you purchased an ESP that was already, the ESP was already past the point of no return. So you went into the ESP and within a month you're like, oh no. You've got 10,000 people and you go into constant contact. I say to a lot of people, that may not be where you're going to end up. And if you're going with 10 to 20,000 people into constant contact, are you going to stay at 20,000? Because, okay, but are you going to go to 50?
Yeah, expand. Yeah.
Are you going to expand? Because at 100,000, you should not be in constant contact.
Nope. Once you hit that level, you got to level up.
Unless you're an author and all you're doing is sending and it's possible. You're a famous author. All you're doing is sending out newsletters and everyone wants a newsletter. Okay, then maybe constant contact will do it for you. Because there's nothing that you're doing. What are you doing? Maybe you're sending them monthly, thought process for them. And you're so famous. Stephen King. What does he need?
Right.
Selling books.
Exactly.
So, if you subscribe to his list, you're probably getting an email. Maybe he's sending, snapshots of books that he's writing or short stories or whatever. Come on, he's fine.
Right.
He's fine.
Like,
what kind of a segment would Stephen King have?
Fans, new non-fans, I don't even know. Like nothing.
Exactly. It's they all like science fiction.
Yeah.
They all like creep.
Yep.
They like horror. They like science fiction. They like cats. I'm just saying. I know I had to say that. Does a male and female reader? It's Stephen King. So these are the types of things that you wouldn't think. Is there a nuance here? Well, if you're an author, it's very specific.
It is.
And you wouldn't be segmenting. Oh, I'm going to send this email to. Come on, people who like it. I'm sorry. I can't even think of a segment for. I can't think of it. Anybody knows? Right below, let me know.
Yeah.
So let's think. I think there's one more question.
Okay.
I guess it is about pricing. Let's talk very specific about pricing. So without necessarily mentioning pricing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Klaviyo.
Yeah.
They have shifted in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In a similar way that even MailChimp shifted, because there's a low end and there's a fairly high end of MailChimp.
There is.
Right?
Yeah.
When MailChimp purchased QuickBooks, they did so for a reason.
Yep.
Right? It wasn't because, they wanted QuickBooks. They did so because they're building the concept of CRM and invoicing and transactional.
Yeah.
And QuickBooks handles that. Right? So integrating, you've got your transactions, you integrate those lists. You've got your invoice, Okay.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about pricing, and if somebody were to say, I have no budget. I think we both say, okay, MailChimp and Constant Contact.
Yeah.
Because you can manage it.
Yeah.
You can manage it for a while.
Yeah.
Are there any more free ESPs? I don't even know if MailChimp has the free
I don't think so. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they have that anymore. Yeah. They're moving away from that. It's crazy. It's trials and demos now.
Yes. I'm grandfathered on MailChimp, and I have a 2,000 list cap, and I pay $13 a month.
Wow.
but I'm grandfathered. I don't know if you can still buy into that.
Darn, you got it good, Joy.
Or maybe it's 15, but it's less than 20.
That's amazing.
Because I bought MailChimp years ago.
Yeah.
I never had a Constant Contact account. I always had a MailChimp account.
Never change it. Never change anything.
And what MailChimp allows me to do beautifully is I can have multi-clients in MailChimp. So when I go in, I log in, it says, which account do you want?
I love that so much.
Yeah. So if you are a freelance email marketing person, and MailChimp is a good platform to partner with.
It is. I agree with that.
It's a good platform. I mean, you're not going to be able to, if you get DSW as a client, they're not going to want to go into MailChimp. No. But if you're a freelance ESP person and you're in a niche, so I do solopreneurs. MailChimp's a good place. If if all of your clients, if you're an email contractor and all your clients are solopreneurs, MailChimp is a good place. It will help you, manage all your clients, and it gives like a pretty good email marketing platform. I don't know if Constant Contact does that.
Yeah.
Do you know if they?
I have no clue if they do that. Mm-mm.
And that's where I think MailChimp is strong.
I do
very
too.
strong, very strong. Salesforce doesn't do that.
No.
All the things they do, I have to have all these different logins to get into an account.
Yes.
And
stand it.
And my browser cannot always handle it, because my browser says, I want to send you here. No, please, let's go here. Yeah, but no, here. And it may, it very similar to Outlook, where, I'm a freelancer, so I get a new company and they send me, okay, you're going to use this email address. And we use Outlook. Oh, God. So now, my browser has cookies and all those things, and it's going to this virtual area for Outlook to pull up the right Outlook profile, and now it's like, who is she?
Who's this?
Yes. And Microsoft, being who they are, it's the new year. We're going to rewrite the platform. Which doc model are we going to use this year?
Literally.
So it's changed. They just upgraded. It's not the way. I'm going to throw my glasses. So yeah. When somebody says, I get a new client, they give me an email address and they say, I'm sorry, I'm Google, I'm Gmail. I'm like, oh, thank God. Very simple. Very simple.
So simple.
So simple. Not so much in Outlook. Not simple. Not so much in Salesforce marketing. And I don't know of a lot of other platforms that easily do it. Some of them do it, but God forbid you forget your username or your group name or something like this. It's like, can you just use my email address, please?
I know.
That's my unique identity. Don't give me an alias and an email. Oh, it's safer that way. Yeah, I'll never get in again. It's very safe because I'll never get into the product. No one else will get into the product. No one will use the product.
I reset my password so much because it's like I just forget it because it requires like a long password, and I always reset it so I know I'm safe.
Yeah, really, because I don't know what it is either. Some system is remembering it, and I don't know what system it is.
Yes.
So, do you have any last words? Any like super pros or super cons on an ESP that you want to share with people?
I think that, I want to tell everybody that the ESP should work for you. If the ESP does not work for you, then keep looking. You need something that can help you grow as a company, as an individual, just making sure that you are able to set yourself up for success. Don't jump into the enterprise stuff. Don't jump into that immediately. If you are just starting out, start small and then kind of grow into what you want. I think that's like the best advice that I could give after doing this for so long. It's just a lot of people just jump the gun and they go straight to the big guns. And sometimes that's not what you should do. It's not recommended at all. So give yourself grace, give yourself time, let the ESP grow with you. I think that's the best advice I could give.
You know what I would say is that if you're looking to shift, I don't know if I'd go to an agency.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
First, because an agency may sell you what they want you to be on.
Exactly.
Which may or may not be the answer. But what I might say is to connect yourself. If you're email marketing for yourself, I would say connect with some email marketers on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And network with them, because we have, as a group, endless knowledge about all the tools, the ins and outs, and things of that nature. And, you may find some email marketing person that's willing to talk to you for free. I will always talk ad nauseum for free. But you may be able to find other people that are willing to talk to you, give you half an hour. Yeah. Where you say, I'd like to talk to you about these 3 ESPs. Can we have a conversation? They might be willing to talk to you about that. So, check us out, hit us up if you're in the market.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that agencies are bad, because I work with agencies. I'm not trying to blow agencies, but I'm saying that many times either an agency is white labeling and you don't know it.
Yep.
Or they're partnered. Maybe they have 2 partners or 3 partners and you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they don't necessarily have any strengths in that they're a multi-marketing agency, and they have some very smart people, but maybe not in those necessarily in that niche. So they may have no clue what ESP you want to be using at all. Like, if you were to sign with them, what they would do is they would do an outreach. If they don't have someone on staff that knows that ESP, they may look into hiring somebody as a freelancer, as a resource that can manage that ESP for them. That's what agencies do. And again, you're not going to know that. They're not going to tell you, oh, Joy, we've never worked with Joy before, but she knows Salesforce marketing. They're not going to say that. They're just going to say, oh, Joy's been with us for ages. They sell. That's what they do. Agencies sell. And that's what they do. And some agencies do very well. Do I have dog hair all over me? Bleh. Okay. Right? Do I have dog hair all over me?
She's like, yeah. It's because
really. No, it's from my other long hair, the one that has long hair. That I look at it and go, I could probably make clothing from this. I need to learn how to spindle it, and then. Okay, so I appreciate it. I haven't changed, Jamie, not at all.
I love it.
Oh, here comes the long-haired mutt. So, hello. So, I thank you very much for your time and efforts, and talking with you. And where can people find you, or is it easiest to find you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think find me on LinkedIn. I'm LinkedIn/Jami the Marketer. You can easily find me there. Happy to connect.
Okay, that'll be down in the bottom.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joy.
And that's another wrap.